Well, greetings. This is the beginning introduction video for the Lectio Divina class, and it's going to be a short video, really just going over some of the broad strokes of the process of Lectio Divina. Thank you for beginning this class with us, and I assure you, since it's the Christmas holidays in December, that the class will not be loaded down with a lot of work. We're really just going to take 4 main segments and look at the 4 main movements, and then towards the end look at a 5th movement possibly that has been added on to this ancient practice of Lectio Divina. Basically, the practice started throughout the Christian tradition in the monks, the way that they would read the scriptures before we got into what we now know as Bible study or scholastic study of the scriptures, where we're reading the scriptures with an intention on trying to find a certain particular meaning or message in each passage. The monks actually had a way of reading the scriptures with the purpose of resting or feasting on the actual word, and actually they had a much more mystical experience in mind when they were practicing Lectio Divina, that wasn't as intellectual, wasn't as focused on getting a meaning out as much as hearing and experiencing the presence of God and moving into the rest of God and the rest in silence. And so these 4 movements that they would go through in this cycle, where it would start off with a lectio, and it would be a time for listening, a reading, either a short passage or maybe a parable or maybe a story from the scriptures, but something short. And they begin with a lectio, a reading, and then that passage would be done maybe 3 or 4 times slowly, just to allow it, almost prayerfully, to allow it to just simmer in your mind and allow yourself to calm as you hear the words. And then they would move into the next phase, which was the meditatio, which was the time where they would allow themselves to meditate. And the image that I heard, that I loved from Father Thomas Keating, was the image of a hunter who would look out across the field looking for movement, so that they would look at the scriptures and like internally they would wait to feel movement within the words that they had just heard. Where is it taking their spirit? What is happening inside of them? A hunter looks out across a field, and in the practice of Lectio, this is really, the meditatio is a process of looking in. What is this passage doing inside of me? How is it moving me? So then they would move, after a period of time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes to start, they would move into oratio, which is a time where a few different things could happen. In a group, you could discuss what moved within you, and you could share it with other people if you're in a group where that's a thing you can do, and you trust other people in the small group environment. Or if you're alone, you can write down maybe a journal entry about it, some sort of response. You can do a verbal prayer of response, but really this is a time for responding. So you have a listening in the Lectio, you have a meditation, a time to reflect, and then a time to respond in the oratio. And sometimes during that time you might have an expert among you who can elaborate on that particular passage of Scripture and bring out some detail, some historical, some perspective that deepens your understanding and helps you understand where the Spirit is trying to take you. And then the final movement that ends the cycle is contemplatio, and that's really different. Sometimes in the Christian tradition we kind of confuse meditation and contemplation, but meditation is to actually ruminate and think about something in your mind. In the Christian tradition, Paul says meditate on certain things. He's talking about actually thinking about these things, whereas contemplation is going beyond the concepts and the images and the symbols to actually just clear your mind. And this is more what the Eastern tradition would call meditation, but in the Christian tradition it's contemplation. It's letting go of the thoughts in your mind. And this process allows you to come to a place of stillness after practice and rest within yourself and within this cycle, within this process. And so this 4-movement cycle is what we're going to be looking at throughout this course. We're going to take a look closely at each one of these cycles and also some of the historical background to it. There's going to be some independent study, some dialogue, and some live conferencing as well, some live chat. So I want to just say I'm happy to join you all on this learning adventure, and my name, for you who don't know, is Christian McCabe. I post at callmere.com as Seaward, And I encourage you to start dialogues within the class, but also post what you're learning in the forums on Calmere to maybe encourage others to join up in the next class that we do, which will be on narrative Bible study. So thank you for listening to the first introductory video, and now go and take the first quiz that's not graded. There's no grades to the class, but this is just a quiz just to move you to the next section. Take your time to reflect on this, and also to support classes like this, you can do that by supporting the sponsors that you see on the screen as well. They help make classes like this and Calmere.com free. All right, thanks so much, and we'll see you on the boards.